You're listening to FabulosiTEA, in which we discuss what you bring to the tea party, essentials for the modern heroine.
I'm Caroline from Sparkles and Crumbs.
And I'm Xandra from Fashionably Light.
Welcome to this week's episode, episode 11, in which we discuss the beauty of blogging.
We thought this would be a fun episode to do since we both really enjoy blogging, and we wanted to talk about how we got started and who inspires us and how you can get started as well. But before we dive into that topic, Caroline, what is fabulous in your life today?
Oh, mine's a very geeky fabulous tea. I went to the library today. In keeping with our very first episode on Inner Bibliophiles, I went to the library and I stocked up on a load of new books, and I spent my entire lunch hour just poring over all the fiction.
Oh, have fun.
And geez, so I came away with a huge pile of books.
You know, I tried your method the other day, where I don't actually get to spend that much time in libraries, but I just had a couple of minutes and I just went through and was like, oh, I've been meaning to read that and I've been meaning to read that, and I just pulled off like 5 books and then ended up reading.
Did you feel spontaneous and liberated?
Yeah, well then once I figured out what book I actually wanted to read, I returned all the others because I feel bad if I'm like holding the book and keeping other people from reading it.
I guess I just hoard them like Gollum.
But if it makes you happy, then it's serving a purpose in your life.
I hope so.
Yeah. I didn't mean to like call you out on that.
No, I never get late fees in the library. That would be awful.
Yes.
So what's your fabulosity?
I finally started at a new yoga studio. So since coming home, I hadn't really gone through the process of finding a yoga studio, but I found one. And okay, this is going to sound random, but I discovered what makes Christmas so special. It's the smells. There's like a distinct Christmas time smell. And I realized this because it's the same thing with yoga studios, where when you open the door of a nice yoga studio, you get this like, you're inhaling incense and calm, and it's just, you know, it's the scents.
I love that idea.
That's the magic of Christmas.
It's like the beach has a scent.
Yeah.
Like a summer holiday has a scent.
Mm-hmm.
I like this. Yeah. We should start our own fabulosity range of candles.
Yeah. Candles, perfumes, hand lotion, the whole range. But before we do that, let's talk about blogging.
Before we build our empire of perfume.
So, Caroline, do you remember the very first blog you read, or how did you get into blogging?
I think it's hard to say where it starts, isn't it? Because I think we're both the same in that as children growing up, we were always creating something. You know, I'd sit on my dad's computer and I taught myself to touch type, and I'd write stories for my friends and my brother, like comical stories. And even when I was much younger, I'd draw myself I pretended my bedroom was a town full of, you know, populated by my cuddly toys, and I'd write newspapers.
Oh my gosh, I would do a very similar thing.
But I guess blogging online kind of started. I read Gala Darling's blog. I discovered that. So she's always been a huge heroine of mine, which is why it was so incredible to go to the Book Academy and meet her in person and kind of learn from her directly. But I think what she did with her blog was exactly the kind of thing I wanted to do and write about. And kind of, you know, I looked at it and thought, oh, you know, I guess my blogging initially started because I wanted to keep a kind of online scrapbook of things that inspired me, and that's kind of how it started. It was more a collection of quotes and pictures and poems or movie clips I thought were great, and eventually it became more about me sharing my own thoughts and opinion on those myself. How about you?
Yeah, the reason I ask this question is because when we were kids, there wasn't really any such thing as blogging. So I, like you, would write little stories and newspapers, and I'd gotten really into the internet because of Harry Potter, and I was writing my Harry Potter email newsletter, which was sort of like a blog. But I didn't start reading actual bloggers until I went on Teen Vogue's website, and they had links to their favorite fashion bloggers. So I sort of started reading about fashion blogs, and then one day I discovered minimalism on StumbleUpon. It was linked to one of Leo Babauta's posts on Zen habits. about having less stuff and more mind space. And I was like, oh,
this is interesting.
Yeah. No one's really put it that way before. And, when in those early days where MySpace was cool, the more stuff you have on your website, the cooler it was.
Oh, all those ugly, glittery animations.
Right. It was like, hey, look what I can do with a computer. Let's put it all over my website. So just to see that blank page with just a few words was really moving.
See, I feel like so kind of the way you're describing it, your journey to coming towards writing your blog, it seems a lot more conscious and a lot, I think you kind of very, not deliberately, but you had a lot of influence that clearly led from one to the other to what you're doing now.
It definitely appears that way. But what isn't as widely known is that I had a blog in high school called Cookies Make the World Go Round. That
That's the best title ever.
It was more, I don't even know if it's still there, but it was more of just a personal blog, sort of like a life journal where I would write about anything that I felt like I wanted to write about. And that definitely didn't have a purpose. So I would encourage anyone who's thinking about starting a blog and doesn't really know quite what they want to talk about to just start and write about whatever you feel like writing on a day-to-day basis. And then, if need be, you can start a new blog once you find focus like I did.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, because I've done exactly the same thing. For the first kind of year and a half of writing my blog, no one read it. I don't think anyone read it except me and my best friend. And I didn't care because I was writing because I loved it. And then I suddenly started getting readers. And because I think I started writing in 2007, 2008, Sparkles and Crumbs, I started writing it on Blogspot.
Uh-huh.
And I think after 2 or 3 years, I kind of looked at my statistics for the first time ever and was like, oh, I'm getting hundreds of people visiting every day from all over the world. This is actually... people are actually reading this. This is really cool. I should actually, I love it so much. I should actually seriously invest some time in this and actually put my name on it and be proud of it.
That's so crazy how you had no idea how many people were reading.
Well, no, I had no idea. I kind of got really nice comments. I knew I had, like a few blogger friends who I knew read it and liked it, but like the numbers really surprised me.
Yeah. I mean, your story is so like what people would dream of.
Oh, I didn't know. Well,
I didn't do any marketing, and all of a sudden,
I lost lots of the numbers when I changed sites, as you do.
Yeah,
but it's coming back up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't. So, how do you feel about kind of the idea of writing a blog anonymously? Because obviously, the big blogging personalities, the ones who really make a success of it, as it were, they're very visible on their sites. But it was interesting. I felt starting off for the first couple of years, I could be much more honest than I would now. If that makes sense, I always try to be genuine in what I write, but you can write about much more personal things if you know your dad and your workmates and aren't reading your site or connected to you.
So were you writing about more personal things when you were anonymous?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, I had to go scroll through your archives now.
Oh, it's password protected now. So embarrassing.
Yeah, I've never been anonymous on my blog, but my friend Molly from Smart, Pretty, and Awkward, which is an awesome site, had a tip where she said, if you're thinking of starting a blog every day for 3 months and then start telling people about it, because then you are holding yourself accountable without the pressure of letting everyone know, hey, I started a blog, and then a week later you decide not to do it anymore. But then also, once you announce it after 3 months, people will have a backlog of posts to catch up on, and they'll be really excited.
Well, that was the nice thing, kind of I'd been writing it for 3 or 4 years, and I kind of thought I'd get serious and said to my, my family and my friends and people, oh, I've been writing this, and I'm trying to invest more time and money in it. Let me know what you think. And it was great. I got such lovely responses from people I didn't expect to have lovely responses from, which is really nice.
Yeah. What's really great about it is, I mean, they say that you should write blog posts that are helpful to your readers. And I think that's definitely true. But for me, I write things as advice to people, but also as a reminder to myself to like hold myself accountable for it.
It's your own personal scrapbook.
Right.
Like that's kind of how I see it. It's the brilliant quote, if there's a book you want to read but hasn't been written yet, write it yourself.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. That's how Fashionably Light started, because I had been writing the cookie blog for a while, and then sort of felt like writing an extra minimalism blog because it felt too cluttered to have everything together. And then I realized, well, actually it's too cluttered to be managing 2 sites at once. So I just stopped blogging for several months and decided I'll pick it up when and if I come up with a cohesive idea. And when I was starting my journey into minimalism, I started reading fashion blogs and minimalist blogs, and they're on opposite ends of the lifestyle spectrum, where fashion bloggers seem to have endless closets of free stuff, and minimalists have sometimes 100 possessions only. But there was nobody, I couldn't really find anybody in the middle. So I kept looking and looking, and then I was like, well, why don't I just make it myself?
I think it's such a unique idea, your site, and it's done so well, and it comes from such a unique angle. And I think it would be very easy when it comes to blogging to be cynical and be like, right, I'm going to write about this very specific market, and I'm going to get these number of hits using this SEO, and I'm going to write BuzzFeed style posts about something very popular that I don't really care about, but I know people will start reading and I can get clicks for.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't understand the gratification in that.
Well, you'd make money from it, but...
Sure. Yeah.
It's like the Sam Smith song. Doing it for the Sam Smith song, Money on My Mind. I'm doing it for the love.
Oh. Well, the sad thing is, as bloggers who are trying to monetize our blogs, I know, at least for me, I sometimes get so wrapped up in all of the technical side of things that I need to be reminded of why I'm doing this in the first place.
Yes, yeah.
Where, I'm working on building my following and attracting more readers. And when it comes down to it, I ask myself, well, what's so important about reaching a certain number of readers? And I think it's the most important thing for me about blogging is the community, and building a community around a specific topic that is so meaningful to me. I'm selling copies of my ebook right now.
Woo!
Yay! Not just as a plug, it is relevant. And it makes me very happy to get an email from Gumroad saying, someone just bought your book. But I realize, as happy as that makes me, I'm more happy to get a lovely comment from someone who seems to have really been touched by what I'm putting out there and sheds more light on it than, or adds something more to the conversation than I had even thought of in the first place.
Well, we met kind of through our blogs.
We did.
Essentially.
We definitely met through our blogs.
Well, through the Blogcademy is how we found each other's blogs.
Yes. Yeah, so we've mentioned the Blogcademy a few times, but in case you haven't heard of it, it's a blogging weekend intensive. It's hosted by Gala, Kat, and Shauna from Gala Darling, Rock and Roll Bride, and Nubby Twiglet. And it's they're going all over the world. It's actually incredible. But it's a live workshop with very beautiful aesthetics and inspiring lessons on blogging.
Very good, solid information. It's not wishy-washy kind of. They take you through, all the stages of building a brand, of how they built their own. I found it really helpful, but also almost more than the kind of information itself. Well, it does two things as well as the sheer information it provides. One, it really gets you thinking about your site and re-inspired, and you leave just full of new ideas and excited about all the possibilities of what you can do. But also, you make really good friends.
I'd say that was the best part of it for me. I mean, we wouldn't be recording this podcast without it.
No, exactly. And it was funny because also they have a really good online community that you join as soon as you sign up. So before you even attend the event, you start meeting virtually the people you'll be on the workshop with.
It's sort of like a sorority.
Yeah, but a lovely, fabulous one.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I never envisioned myself.
No one gets hazed.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's ideal, really. It's a sorority without the hazing.
Mm. And the weird Greek letters. But and it was really nice because you felt like you knew people before even started. I remember we had a little pre-Blog Academy gathering in London. I think with Lucy from Lucy J Loves and Anne Marie from Yo Soy Dollface and Enika Stewart, who's a photographer. And it was really funny. I kind of showed up and started saying hello, and Anne Marie went, "Oh, you write Sparkles and Crumbs, don't you? Yeah, I can tell because you talk exactly the way you write." And I was like, I don't know if this is a good thing.
It's definitely a good thing. Though, yeah, that was back when you didn't have very many pictures of yourself on your blog.
Yes, yeah, I definitely changed it over the last year.
Yeah. And do you like giving your site makeovers as well?
I do. I am so fussy. I really feel I love it the way it is now.
Yeah.
I finally
I do too.
satisfied of it. But it's gone through so many incarnations. It's been a Weebly site, it's been a Blogspot site. It's had loads of different themes and
since you have experience with all these different platforms, where do you recommend people start?
So basically my dramatic blogging odyssey. I started on Blogspot because it was, the biggest thing around at the time, and it was very easy to use. It had a nice little commenting community, so it was easy for people to follow you and find other sites. And it's very simple to use. I then wanted to try and do something a bit more polished, so I bought my own domain name through Weebly.com, which is a slightly newer platform, even more easy to use than Blogger, I'd say. But because it's so much easier, you can do a lot less with it. So you can set up a shop on there, you can set up a blog and a main homepage for your site, but it's quite limited, and also it's very difficult to transfer that to other platforms.
That's the thing. If you really want to be professional about your blog, it is a pain to transfer from
oh my god
from something like Blogspot or WordPress.com to a self-hosted domain.
So this is the third, this is where I am now and where you are now.
Right.
And I think what we both recommend long term, because self-hosting is different to WordPress.com. It is WordPress.org. And what you essentially do is buy your own internet space from a hosting company, install WordPress, and use that to write from. So it is a headache, which is why I think I would recommend, if you're dipping your toe in the water, starting a Blogspot. But yeah, I remember. So I wrote for 4 months on Weebly, and was writing pretty much every day, and then had to transfer all of those posts manually to WordPress.
Oh gosh!
As in
copy paste,
copying every single copy paste. It was and still trying to write posts at the same time as well to keep publishing. But it was a nightmare.
Well, I actually started out on WordPress.com because I had some techie friends and was like, I'm starting a blog. What should I use? And he said, definitely WordPress. So I learned how to use WordPress without having to pay for a domain. And then I think it was probably easier for me to transfer stuff from WordPress to WordPress.
Yeah.
It was still a pain and scary, but and if you're starting out and just want to like feel your voice, just use Tumblr or something.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think we're making it sound really daunting, I think. And you know what? If you're doing it by yourself and you don't have any know-how of this, it sometimes is. But there are resources out there, especially if you take part in something like the Blog Academy, or even, start talking to other bloggers or bloggers you appreciate. Bloggers whose blogs you read. And it's...
I appreciate bloggers.
We all blogger appreciation, blogger love.
It's so much fun to discover some new website, because if I've learned anything about being on the internet, it's that if you're looking for a niche topic, it exists somewhere. Someone is super passionate about it, and they're writing about it. So I love just discovering new blogs and commenting on people's blogs and making new friends that way. It's really fun.
International love. I like that picture.
Do you have a routine for reading blogs, or how do you use Blog Lovin', or subscriptions?
Oh no, I just have them saved in my favorites, and I look through them when I feel like I need to read. I'm very irregular in my blog reading, but then it's good.
Yeah,
They're
me
saved
too.
up for when you check back and you have 4 or 5 posts to read instead of one every day. It's good.
Yeah. I'm subscribed to a few bloggers, but for the most part, I organize everything on Bloglovin, and I have basically 2 folders of one of like absolute favorites, like yours,
Oh,
and another one of blogs I'm trying out. So whenever I stumble upon a blog that looks interesting, I just put it in that folder, and all of the feeds are incorporated into Bloglovin. It's really easy to read.
you're so organized.
I just have to do this for myself. So, is there anything else we haven't covered?
Oh gosh, there's so much, but we're going to run out of time. But so this is the thing. This week we'd love to hear any of your blogging questions.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you have a blog yourself, we'd love to hear from you and how you feel about the advice we've given, if you think it's at all helpful. And if you're starting a blog, if you think it's helpful advice, or if you'd like to ask any more questions, we will try to help.
Yeah, and who are your favorite blogs? Besides
I mean,
ours?
that goes without saying, right? Yes. So we're doing something a little bit different next week. Woohoo! A little bit off schedule. So essentially, Xandra, you have your ebook coming out. Woo!
Yes, as foreshadowed in this episode.
The suspense is building.
Yeah, it's called it's called Fashionably Light: Becoming My Own Heroine, and it's available at fashionablylight.com/book. But I'm very happy to be doing a special pre-release party on Google Hangouts with you, Caroline. Woo! So on Sunday, the 23rd of March at 6 p.m. Boston time, that's Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be online doing a chat about my book and becoming your own heroine, and it'll be really fun. So if you go to fashionablylight.com/chat, that'll take you to the Facebook event, and you can RSVP, and that'll have all the information about how to join the chat there. And if you aren't able to go at that time, you'll be able to see the recording afterwards.
Yes. So we'll be taking a break next week. The next episode after that will be episode 12, in which we discuss making workwear wonderful. So in the meantime, sign up for the Hangout. We'd love to chat to you in person, as it were.
And you get to see our faces in my closet. Oh yeah, I blog from the closet.
You can see my Roman holiday poster in the background.
Yeah, so many reasons to tune in. In the meantime, you can visit us at FabulosiTEA.com. And we also have a newsletter sign up that you can pop your email address in there, and we'll send you notifications saying there's a new tea party available on iTunes and YouTube. And you can always get in touch with us on Twitter at FabulosiTEA.
Well, we'll see you at the Hangout.
See you at the Hangout. Bye-bye.